What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Best Self Blueprint. So, as you all know, the mission of this podcast is to bring on people with the knowledge, insights, and experiences to help you move that dial towards becoming the best version of yourself, whatever that means to you. So, the next guest is a Ninja Warrior who is on the newest season of American Ninja Warrior. She is a Bigo Live fitness coach and also fitness model. You may have seen her in big cities like New York, LA, Atlanta, Houston, Chicago. A big old picture of her across the skyscrapers, but I will officially introduce and let her explain who she is. Yari Breunig, how you doing?
Hi guys, nice to meet you. So I'm Yari Breunig. I'm training. I'm a ninja in training. So just learning to be the best ninja that I can be. I'm also a fitness coach on Bigo Livestream. So I go live and I teach fitness to people around the world and try to make fitness more accessible, make it fun so that people don't have to be scared to try it. So I just try to reach people to just bring the joy of fitness to all is my goal.
So we're just going to kind of dive right in the deep end right off the bat, because we were talking about manifestation right before we hopped on. So
Yes.
people who have like listened to me on here know that's a big part of what I do. Is I truly believe like manifesting doesn't work if you don't work, but if you do put in the work, manifestation is really kind of that secret key to get what you want. And as someone who, like, I've been following you for a long time, we've talked a few times in person, trained a few times, you're definitely someone who's really in that phase of like, you're really seeing the real world tangible results pay off. What advice do you have people, like what type of techniques do you use for manifesting? And then what's your advice for someone who maybe has been turned off to the idea of it, like why they should just give it a shot?
Oh my God, manifestation has absolutely transformed my life. So honestly, the best tool for manifestation that has worked through me has been journaling. So I journal. I have a gratitude section where I write what I'm grateful for, 5 things every day. If you're not grateful, you won't accept you won't put out those good energies into the world. Like you have to be grateful for what you have. And then I have like a vision board that'll I look at every day to remind me that I am in charge of my thoughts. So my thoughts become reality. So it makes me be more confident, believe in myself, and it just helps me know that I'm in charge. Like I manifest everything I believe in. And then I also have like a vision board for the future. So I'll write down like what I want in life. What am I trying to aspire for? And like what events I'm worthy to achieve my dreams. So it's just knowing that you're worthy for greatness. I think it's what people are terrified, is just the idea that they know they can be great if they really choose to believe it. And once you believe it, everything gets in place. Like it's not like a fast, delivery, but it's that knowing that you are getting better and that you are able to achieve those dreams that you have.
So my mentality around this, because I think really the people who don't trust in the process are people who can't get that initial step, which is belief. And it may be the first step, but it's a pretty big first step. It's a big gap between no belief and full belief. So my message to people is, if you don't believe you can do it, go try to prove yourself wrong then. Like take some action, prove, even if you can't do the thing you want to do yet, maybe you can do something in progression towards that you didn't think you could do. And then that'll instill enough belief to then try to take the next step to move forward towards that goal. What advice do you give people who they say, like, I want to believe it, but I just like, I don't have that ability to just say I'm worthy, or say like I'm deserving of a great life, or I'm able to do these things? What would you tell that person or those people?
So honestly, a whole bunch of my messages on Instagram is give it a try. I think people are just stuck, that they're so scared to fail that they don't try new things. I've failed so many times. I mean, I have a 4-inch scar on my face. I've got calluses on my hands. Failing is part of success. And I feel failing is part of believing in yourself. So once you can get past the I'm going to fail, then you can slowly start to believe in yourself and get to there. So just try new things constantly.
So that's actually a really it's a really good tool that you just said, and I hope people don't just overlook it. You talk about how like failure actually is beneficial to believing in yourself, not
Mhm.
only because when you like once you do fail, you realize it's not as bad or scary as like you were making it out to be. Like I think Ninja Warrior is a great example of this. No one who trains Ninja Warrior never fails. No one. At some point in time, you are going to get humbled, whether it's face planting on a balance obstacle or helicoptering off a lache. Sometime, somewhere, it's going to get you.
Slamming
And
a rod on your face. All
yeah,
these
or
things happen.
exactly. And I think when you like finally experience those things, like you're super nervous not to, especially if you're in front of people, like fall or look bad. But then once you do it, and then you see maybe a couple other people you're training with making the same mistakes, it goes to show you this big dragon that you were trying to slay is actually a tiny little like cricket. And the other part with that too is once you realize that the failing part isn't that bad, you also realize that you learn a lot more in the times where you don't get it because you're not as complacent then afterwards. I think if you just keep succeeding, you hit this level of complacency where you're not strategizing and analyzing and observing as much as when you keep failing an obstacle, then you really get down to, again, in the context of Ninja Warrior, like how far apart were my hands when I tried to grip it? Was I doing regular underhand or switch, or on a balance obstacle, was I leaning too far forward or off to the side? And it's the same thing with life, which is why I love, obstacle course racing and Ninja Warrior, is because it really is that kind of physical manifestation of overcoming these different obstacles.
Yeah, 100%. Now I know that, if I'm going to do the salmon ladder, I'm going to put 100% effort on every move and not just half move it, because then it'll hit me in the face. So it's just that learning, those little learning tips that is going to only make me a better athlete. Like this is how you become who you want to be. It's these hard moments.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it's especially in the hard moments. But so one thing I want to do is kind of almost go back in time, because you were saying like the people that you talk to, at least when you coach them, you say, just give it a shot, like try it. And then I'm assuming you don't even follow up with if it doesn't work, then whatever. You just say, give it a shot.
Yep.
When you were at the beginning of your journey, whether it was getting into fitness, finally like pulling the trigger and saying like, I want to be a coach or I want to be a model for these other people. What was that journey like at the beginning for you? Was there a lot of failure in that context? Was it a pretty smooth ride?
So when I first started to get into fitness, I've never been athletic whatsoever. I sang opera and I played in jazz band and I played piano. I did band. I was in choir. I was AP nerd, all at scholars like. So actually when I got into fitness kind of later into my life, it was very intimidating. So I feel like I have that. This is what I'm trying to convey to everybody I coach now is don't be intimidated. Like it took me a long time to get into it just because I didn't know what I was doing. So I'm trying to make fitness just more accessible so that you don't have to be scared and that you can also do it safely, even from the comfort of your own home. Like if you don't want to go to the gym. But yeah, once I got my first certification I ever got was cardio kickboxing. So that was started doing those classes and I just loved it so much. I was like, I want to be a coach. And I think the second obstacle I really had to overcome was believing in myself that I could be a good coach. I think that's a really hard thing because you start to wonder is, do I have the knowledge? Like, are these people going to actually listen to me? And when I became a CrossFit coach was the hardest because I wasn't coaching, just older adults. I was coaching athletes, like competitive athletes. And it was just that building that confidence that, hey, I studied, I know my knowledge, I know how to keep them safe and they are going to listen, like they do respect my coaching. That was the hardest part because I was a little intimidated. But once you get past that intimidation and just be confident that you do have the knowledge accessible to coach all these people, that's when it's fun. That's when I have no doubts that I'm a good coach because I'm always expanding my knowledge to be able to train people efficiently and safely.
When I think that goes back to a concept of you're always acting out of one of two energies, either love or fear. And I think whether it's in pursuit of a goal, whether it's in, stepping into a new career, whether it's trying a new thing, when you're doing it out of a place of fear, you aren't going to be as good. So like I had that same thing where, especially when you get in front of people, so if it's public speaking, if it's, going on TV, or if it's coaching a class or teaching a class, when you come out of a place of fear, they can definitely tell that.
Yeah.
And also, you're now thinking of all the things that can go wrong instead of just enjoying the moment, as opposed to when you're acting out of a state of love or an energy of love and you're just there to enjoy it, that energy gets emitted as well. So like going back to when you talk about manifestation, I think that's a big part of it, is just what energy you're giving off. So if you're constantly in, a state of fear, a state of lack, a state of, like constriction, you're really not going to experience that manifestation, because you're now putting off the energy that you're scared, you're not worthy, you're not going to be able to do it. And so I think that kind of comes full circle with when you talk about that.
Yeah. And that's those limiting beliefs that I used to have when I first started Ninja. I was sabotaging myself. I would be like, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, in my head when I'm trying to do a balance obstacle. What happens? I fall, because I'm just placing these limiting beliefs that, oh, I am going to fall. Don't fall. And then I was just like, or when I was doing a long lache, oh my God, this is so far. This is so far. Instead of saying, oh, I got this. You can do it. Be explosive, So it's just kind of taking those limiting beliefs out and putting those positive beliefs that you will get it. Don't focus on the bad, but focus on what you want to achieve.
Yeah, that's so huge. All right. So I want to switch gears a little bit. But before we do, I just want to make sure people understand there are a lot of people who I think have that like woo-woo mentality around manifestation. If anything, even if you don't believe in kind of the more spiritual aspects of it, just think about what's better: positive thinking, negative thinking. And so if you don't believe in the actual manifestation, just switch to positive thinking then. And I can almost guarantee, if you actually buy into that process, you will see pretty significant results. So I want to switch gears to you in terms of, like, obviously everyone kind of has a specific fitness regimen based on, like, for you, it would be based on Ninja Warrior and CrossFit. But what does your kind of standard day look like in terms of like workouts, nutrition, and just making sure that you're staying on top of your health?
So I put a lot of priority in my health. So I'm a very clean eater. So when it comes to nutrition, I kind of just make sure I don't overthink it. I just make sure that I have my biggest portions proteins, my fat to carbs, same ratio, about 40%. And then I just make sure I have all the nutrients I need in every meal that I eat. Small meals throughout the day, nothing crazy. I stay pretty healthy in those choices. As far as my workouts, I am a mom of two, so it's a little bit harder, and I'm also a stay-at-home mom. So I actually plan my workouts when my littlest one is napping. So when she naps, I have about 2 hours. So I go live. I will either do a conditioning workout. I will do a strength training. I'll do a CrossFit at home workout. I'll do a mobility, a shoulder stability workout. So every day I pick something new that I want to coach, that I also want to work on, and then I'll scale it as I go and then just train. And then Ninja specific, I think we train about two times a week. So.
Okay. And then how big are you on prioritizing sleep with two kids?
That's very hard, especially now with my little ones sick. So I do have the Whoop. So the Whoop kind of helps me know when to scale my training sessions, because I don't get a lot of sleep. Like, it's hard. My little one wakes up at like 5:30 in the morning. So, so sleep is, I could get better, but I am a mom. So it's understandable. It'll get better as my children get to sleep more.
Well, and so that's what I was curious about, is because it's very easy for me, single, no kids, no pets, to say, oh yeah, like 8+ hours of sleep, make it a priority. But, again, going back to making sure that we get other perspectives, I think it's important to ask people in a much different situation than me, who, do have two kids to worry about, as well as their career, as well as their own, health and well-being and relationships, and to understand that if you're not able to get, the full 8 hours of sleep, okay, what are other ways that we can, get at least rest throughout the day, drop our cortisol levels, because, if we're not getting enough sleep, that might throw our biorhythms off, drop or rise
Mhm.
cortisol levels. So what are maybe one of your few tactics as a mom to make sure that even though you're not always getting, solid 8 hours of sleep, you're still making sure that you're rested and recovered? The Whoop sounds like a good
So the
option.
Whoop, so I would highly recommend for athletes who, especially like moms or people who kind of don't have the best sleep. This was my way of being able to know how much sleep is affecting my performance, so I can adjust my performance accordingly. So if I, like last night, didn't get a lot of sleep, so as far as my training today, scaled it down 40%. So I kind of know how hard to train and how to let my body rest because I didn't get that full night's rest. Sometimes I'll just take a whole rest day. So I'll actually add a lot more rest days than others probably would in their training. But it's not like I'm losing anything because I'm still going to gain that. I'm still making fitness gains regardless. I'm just taking a little bit more rest. So at first that was hard for me to add those rest days, but now I see that it's way more beneficial, like in the long run. Work smart, not hard.
Yes.
Work
So
smarter, not
this
harder.
is this is something that directly applies to my coaching. So very, very recently I've had at least three, I think four clients come up to me, which at the same time, there can only be so many coincidences as a coach. But so these people came up and just said, hey, I'm crushing my workouts. I'm doing this amount of days, which is usually like 5 to more like 6 days a week. I'm eating good. I'm resting. Like, what's wrong? I'm like, you need to stop. Like,
Hmm.
take a day, even 2 days, let your body rest and recover. And the people who took my advice the following week saw, muscle increase, fat decrease, weight decrease, all the things that you want to see. And so it is really important, you see I think that's where the bigger name like YouTube people or just, influencers who are crushing it like 6 days a week, it's tough to try to emulate that because, they've been doing it for years to the point where they have that 6 day a week down to a science. So people who are going in and just training like crazy for 6 days without really the knowledge of their body to know whether or not that's overdoing it. I think you get to a point just like with anything else where you're burning out and then, you're not recovering properly. So then again, your body kind of goes into survival mode. So yeah, overtraining is something that I think it needs to be talked about more than it has been. Because in the fitness industry, we're kind of like, you got to push, you got to grind, like keep working, sleep when you're dead, all that. But
Yeah.
you really do need to take some time off.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, people think fitness is like this, but it's like this. So it's those plateaus that and you need and that recovery. You can't just be at peak performance all the time. You have to train to when you want to be in peak performance. So,
Yeah. So I actually just heard this quote today. Do you know who Jay Shetty is by chance?
mm-mm.
So he was a monk. Now he's I guess I would call him an influencer, business owner. And he said, the only time you're truly alive is when you're living a heartbeat. So what he means by that is on the medical equipment, when there's a heartbeat, it kind of goes up, down, up, and then back to center line. And he said, if you're not experiencing any type of like ebbs and flow from like up to down, you're just like completely on a line. He said, you're not truly living, just like if you were to flat line on the medical equipment. And I thought that was so true because I think a lot of people will assume like, well, if I, keep doing the workouts these many days, keep eating clean, it's just going to be a nice straight line. And that's not always the case. Life is going to throw stuff at you. Your body is going to change your microbiome, your epigenetics, all of those things are shifting. And so unless you are the world's leading scientist in fitness, nutrition, all these things, you're going to see some kind of volatility. But just like anyone who invests in the stock market, I've yet to meet someone who has a straight line going up in their portfolio.
Yeah.
There's going to be kind of those dips. It's a matter of kind of trending in the right direction.
Yep. All about trending in the right direction. That's well said.
Thank you. I've done a few of these.
Yeah, I was going to say that's good.
So the last thing I want to talk about with you before we kind of start to wrap it up is in terms of just life, I guess, along the lines of these, like what we're talking about with volatility, what mindset do you carry with you if you've been on a downtrend longer than you expect? So what I mean by that is, maybe your workouts have been like, you just haven't had the same energy for maybe a few weeks as opposed to a few days, or maybe you don't do this, but like if you were to slip on your diet for, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks as opposed to a day or two, what mentality do you have to snap you back into it? Because I think a lot of people get stuck in that, like when things are going good, they're really good. And then when things start kind of getting out of control a little bit, they don't really know how to, stop the shaking of the boat.
So this is a great question. And this is one question I actually talked to. I was seeing a sports psychologist when I was training for the show. And I went through this slump where I just kept comparing myself to others. And I'm like, am I good enough to be on this? This is before I got picked on the show. Am I good enough? Do they see that I love this? And what he told me to do is write a mission statement so that every time you see this mission statement, you remember why it is that you do. Not just like, even if you're in that slump like that where you see no progress, you're not getting any better. So I actually wrote a mission statement that I put on my bathroom. I have it written down here in the office, but it's just picking why you do what you're doing. So mine was, I aspire to excel at Ninja because it's exhilarating, challenging, inspiring, and empowers me to be the strongest version of myself. So it helped every time to see that, oh, I love Ninja. Even if I'm not seeing any gains, I love it. So then I would just still train. And even if I wasn't getting any better, just for the fun of it, just remembering that this is why I do what I do.
Oh, so you just hit my sweet spot of conversations on here. It is like what someone's why is. I think if you don't know your why behind what you're filling your day with, you need to very immediately hit the big red button and stop what you're doing and figure that out. I think that is amazing that you did that. I think anyone listening who doesn't currently write, if not write it out, at least think about it. So like when you're going through your daily schedule, what I do is before I actually put something in my schedule, I think about like, okay, why would I do that? Like, what would the reason be for it? Is it because it's productive? Is it because I just genuinely enjoy it? Is it because, whatever other reasons? Is it because I'm being a good friend? Figuring out what the why is behind that beforehand, I think allows you to really be present in that moment and experience it fully, as opposed to, not really remembering the why and then getting to the point where you're just running through your day to check the boxes. That would be like, putting your car on autopilot, and then all of a sudden at the end of the day, you don't even really grasp and hold on to any of those memories, which if you were to, they could be some of the most beautiful memories you've made.
100%. I agree.
So remember your why, people. If you don't have it, find it. If you do have it, hold on to it. That is, like you talked about, like manifestation changed your life. This to me is probably the number one piece of advice I've ever been given. I wish I could shout out the person who gave it to me. I don't really remember. Maybe Tony Robbins, but we'll just say Tony Robbins, because I'm sure he said that before. But yeah, really, it's just like with a balance obstacle in Ninja Warrior. You visualize everything about it. You visualize where you're going to place your feet. You visualize how fast you're going to go. You visualize, at what points, like if you do start to tip, what are you going to do? To me, figuring that out beforehand is like figuring out the day before you experience it. Because then, just like a balance obstacle in Ninja Warrior, if you haven't seen ninjas do this, they just send it. They don't think about it. They don't worry about it. They just go. And that's the same thing. So then once you wake up for the day, you can just commit and you can enjoy it.
Yeah, it's all about that commit and believe yourself.
Yeah. And I think another thing that you said really ties into it, which this is something I've struggled with and, told these lovely people listening that I've struggled with this is you did say like you went back to like, I'm doing this because I enjoy it. It empowers me. It wasn't like I'm doing this because I think it looks cool. I'm doing this because like I want my friends to like me. And so I think oftentimes when we like take that weight off of our shoulders, I always think about like Peter Pan and the Lost Boys. Like if you don't have that level of fun energy going into the things you're doing, maybe rethink about like why you started doing it. So like for me, with a lot of these sports that I got into, I started getting really serious about the training just because I wanted to be really good. And then that took over the fun part. And I only thought about like analytically, like how can I get stronger, faster, better, in every facet. And then going back to, oh, right, I used to like doing this. I just did it because it was fun. And that really adds that special element.
Yeah, it's all about having fun. And that's why I think people overlook fitness. They want to have a six pack or they want to have toner legs or bigger glutes, But fitness, if it's only based on your appearance, it's not, you're just never going to be satisfied. It's about having fun. So if anybody here listening, do try all kinds of fitness and find something that's fun to you and fun. And you'll be able to keep it, maintain it, and see results with that.
Amazing advice. All right. So I am going to ask you the final question, but before that, you've obviously got a lot of people watching you, whether it's on social media, whether it's on the Bigo Live. Just let people know where they can connect with you if they have questions or if they just want to follow your content.
Oh yeah. So I am on Instagram. My Instagram is ninja_Yari. If you guys want to follow me, I usually try to put content on there based on performance, not aesthetics, because I think people get too caught up in aesthetics. Performance is a much more easier goal to maintain, and aesthetics come with it over time. And you can also follow me on Bigo Live if you want to watch any of my workouts. I do all my workouts there live every single day. And that's my ID is Yaris, YARIZETT.
Which is her full name.
That's my full name. So if you guys want to follow me,
yeah, definitely give her a follow. So one thing, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to people on the show, but before the show, I let people know what my vetting process is for it. So I guess I might as well let people listening know. The first one is people who are actively in pursuit of the best version of themselves. But the second one is people who are genuinely looking to help others. And the reason that I can bring people on and shamelessly let them talk about all of their stuff is because I'm following all their stuff and I really enjoy, who they are and what they represent. And so if you are interested in fitness, in health, in just cultivating the life that you want to live, Yari is an amazing person to follow. So if you haven't, take a look either in the comments below. I'll have all of the stuff. Or if you want to hear her say it, you can just rewind and listen to all of that again. But we will get into the last question. So for you right now in your life, what is the next step in you becoming your best self?
Oh, I think the next step is just I'm still working on confidence. I feel like as confident as I might sound, I feel like we all still just have these subconscious limiting beliefs that we're working on. So it's just being able to believe in the skills that I have the skills that will make me the best ninja that I can be. So I'm just every day just working on my manifestation, whether it's through journaling and getting rid of those limiting beliefs so that I can truly become the best version of myself. So just training I want to compete next American Ninja Warrior season. So I'm just every day just training for that. So
I like it. And so I really want people to take something into account real quick. Like, if you're someone who does struggle with confidence, understand Yari is a fitness coach for CrossFit. She is an American Ninja Warrior. She is a fitness model. And she just said, like, it's just a process. There's no like destination where all of a sudden you're 100% confident 100% of the time. There are people who, like a CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, a speech I heard him give, he said in one day he goes from feeling like a king to feeling like the jester at least 7 times. And it really is just a matter of not never faltering, but then how fast you can kind of snap back to it. So I love the vulnerability of that answer.
True.
I love the fact, or just the perspective you have on it of like, I am still working on it, but I think you can even acknowledge like you are in a very good place, based on, how we were talking before. You were saying like the fact that you love what you do, you're able to do it in the environment you want to, and you're able to do well with it. I think the more true you are to that, like more true you are to who you are, the more that confidence is just gonna kind of flow through. So Yari,
Exactly.
I want to thank you for hopping on here, chatting for a little bit.
Mm.
Especially, with everything you have going on. I want to thank you for, like I said beforehand, just the life that you're living, the people you're helping, and the energy that you bring. It is, in the few times that we've worked out or trained together, it is contagious. You're very positive. You're very just high, good energy. So I want to thank you for that.
Oh, Trevor, thank you for having me and being able to. I love manifestation. So honestly, I wish any message, I wish I could spread this to the world too. It makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully we can get some eyes on this. So speaking of, if you are still tuning into this, I do this for free. This is not a paid thing. This is not a sponsored thing. I do this because I genuinely want as many people as possible to get in front of these inspiring people, people who have, motivated me to do better, who have inspired me to make positive changes in my life. So if you know someone who could use any of this information, which is just about everybody, share it. If you have questions or comments, that's the comment section is for. And if you like these interviews, if you like the type of people that I'm sitting down with, subscribe. These come out weekly on Mondays. So thank you everybody for tuning in. As always, I respect and appreciate anyone investing time in the growth of themselves. And we will catch you next week.